99% of the time, I like to try and focus on the content that's happening on our television screens. But in the last 24 hours, essentially, WWE cancelled WrestleMania 42, and that is something to chat about. Now, I do have a bunch of your opinions that we are going to get into, but I just want to give you my 2 cents to start with. It's kind of tough, right? Because I think it all depends on how you approach this, as you are going to see when we get into the audience feedback too. But I can imagine there has to be some people that are planned for New Orleans, be it booking hotels, maybe even buying travel, maybe even just planning it. I think we forget that sometimes. If you've always wanted to visit New Orleans and your big holiday once a year is WrestleMania, and you'd already been online and you're looking at certain things, of course you're going to be gutted, of course you're going to be upset. I think that's a perfectly fair reaction, especially because we had The Rock announcing it and we had the press releases. It all felt like it was locked in. Now, I don't want to speculate too much because we don't have all the information, right? And when we do, we'll certainly come back and we'll revisit this. But we do not know the reason why. Maybe another place, Vegas, rumoredly offered more money, but that still kind of seems weird to me because New Orleans, I'd imagine, would have been very upset about that and likely would have caused more of a fuss. So I want to hold fire on that just for the time being. But looking at it purely from a situational point of view, it does suck if you're a pro wrestling fan. And like I say, maybe there are some outlays that you've already put out there, and I hope you get your money back more than anything. But that does suck. Like, it just does. There's no two ways about it. You never want that to happen. And also, it's just a faff, right? We've got something announced. We've had press releases. It all seems locked in. Everybody mentally starts deciding what are they going to do, what they're not going to do. And all of a sudden, it's not there. And the way the news broke too, it was just so crazy. It started off with rumors, and I don't think WWE has said anything officially just yet. So I'll be super intrigued to see what they do come out with. And then, yes, soon afterwards, it went from somebody else had one place. Everybody thought it was going to be Wembley. I shouldn't do this. I went on social media. I always joke, I don't take social media seriously. I need to learn from this. And I accidentally stirred the pot. It was never going to be Wembley because, again, if WWE has gone somewhere else, they're going to be being paid a huge site fee, whether that's because there was a problem in New Orleans or because somebody did offer more. But London ain't going to pay that fee because tourism in London is massive. I think it's number 1 out of all the countries. That could be a lie, but it's right up there. So there is no way that the government or the council, whoever pays these kind of fees, is going to be able to justify that because it won't make a difference to the amount of money they're bringing in from tourism. And on that reason alone, I think it's going to be super duper tough for it ever to be in England, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's me being a negative Nancy for sure. But then all of a sudden it was back in Vegas. Now, made me laugh. There was an argument in my comments with one person said this has literally never happened before. Then somebody else said it literally happened when we ran it at Donald Trump's casinos, WrestleMania 4 back to back. And then somebody else was like, well, that was ages ago. Who cares about that? I was like, oh man, we're all cooked. We're not allowed to have facts if it's 3 decades ago. It has happened once before. That's right. 2 WrestleManias in the Atlantic City Donald Trump casino area, whatever the flub we're calling it. And that was a long old time ago, sure. And if it does go back to Vegas, it will be the first time in the site fee era. I think Donald Trump paid for them too. I think WWE didn't have to worry about selling tickets. But the point is, in this brand new era where people go out and try and bring it in like the Super Bowl, it will certainly be the first time it happens. And if you are somebody that likes to visit every year, and one of the reasons you are so excited is the brand new location, that could be going away. Now, I was very blessed and very, very lucky to go to WrestleMania 41. And I think the worry would be it's very expensive, Las Vegas, and you really do have to budget and you really do have to be smart about this. And I guess people save up throughout the year, but it does take away from the novelty of it because Vegas is a once-in-a-lifetime destination, I think, for some people. I think that's fair to say. I don't think many people go there multiple times, unless you are going for an event. So I think there is a certain upsetness is a little bit strong, but I'll go with that word, part to that, all that as well. Like, it was New Orleans, that's a cool place to go. When it's in New York, obviously it's New York. LA is cool, and there'll be a bunch of other places too. It's why, when it was rumored to be Minnesota, I can't speak on this, I'm a British guy, but some people are almost boring. I don't want to go to Minnesota. That seems awfully unfair. Maybe Minnesota is the greatest place ever. We don't know. New Orleans is getting a Money in the Bank in 2026. So that's super interesting too, because that can't have been on the cards. I think it was 2026. Maybe it's not. But you wouldn't run WrestleMania there, and then maybe you would. I don't know. It's a very convoluted and very, very confusing situation. But just to draw a line under it, yes, from a fan's point of view, it's not great. It's not ideal. And I really hope nobody loses any money on this, because that would be the worst, right? It's a horrible climate as it is. And the last thing we need is for you to be spending money on something you pump for, and then then having to go and figure it all out. I would like to think this early on, either you booked hotels, they haven't taken any money from you, or there'll be some kind of get out clause. I send you the best, is what I'm saying. And now we will deviate to the feedback. So the way that I loaded this was meant to be the last one, but thanks a lot, images. It's now the first one, but Ben says, screw it, let's host a WrestleMania at Antarctica. Metallica would love that. Metallica decided to play every continent ever. I would kind of like it because essentially it would be watched by a lot of penguins. Pretty sure penguins live in Antarctica. I don't know. Ben, I am down for your idea. Wymot, which is definitely your real name, says Vegas is far too expensive for your average traveler, and combine that with the already high ticket prices, it's just annoying, to be honest. I've always liked the belief of WrestleMania being a touring party. To stay in the same place lacks imagination. I think that's fair. And again, if they are going back there, I think it's fair to say a huge reason will be TKO look at their receipts and they're like, oh my gosh, we charged so much money for Vegas. And I believe that WrestleMania 41 was the highest grossing event they've ever done. So they probably think they can do that again. I find it very hard to talk about this because do I think wrestling tickets right now are priced too high? Yes. Do I think music tickets are priced too high? Yes. Do I think all tickets for all performances in 2025 are priced too high? Yes. But we as a collective keep buying them, right? And I get it. You want that experience. You don't want FOMO. I understand all of this. But it's like a catch-22 situation. The only way WWE ticket prices are going to go down is if they stop selling out. Then they'll be like, well, this doesn't work. We weren't able to fill the arena in the way we wanted to. And the only way to do that is for us to stop buying them. Because if you are in charge of marketing or you're in charge of tickets and you charge, I'm just making up a number, right? You charge on average $250 a ticket and then you sell out the Allegiant Stadium. When you have your post-mortem, everybody is going to say, well, we priced these correctly because our fan base deemed this was worth it. And I don't want to get into a big chat about what the idea of worth is, because it's going to be different for everyone. But if you have a 60,000 seater stadium and the average is $250 and you've got 65,000 people in it, then you priced it correctly. Whereas only 49,000 people turn up, then you go, man, that's a huge outlay that we've missed out on. We probably shifted the tickets downwards. I understand that as looking at it from a job perspective, but I think we have to do that to understand why WWE is doing it. From me, Simon Miller, the Bald Idiot perspective, of course I want to have cheap tickets. Of course I do. I don't have crazy amounts of money to spend on these things, but that's why it's so difficult. So if they do Vegas for 42 and this time it's $300 and they sell it out again, the next time it'll be $350. This isn't a WWE problem. This is a world problem. This is a life problem. And I also don't want to be that guy that says, oh, you spent too much money on a wrestling ticket. It's your money. You're allowed to spend on it whatever you want. And if you go to that WrestleMania and you have the best time and you look back and go, I'm so happy I spent that money, nobody should be able to criticize you for that either. Because I see that on the internet too. I'm like, that's not fair. You're perfectly allowed to be like, this is pricing me out of something I love. That's not cool because I've supported this whatever for the last 25, 30 years. But on the other hand, if you do have the money, like, cool, great, I'll go. That's also fine, right? I don't want to get into a whole, I can't even think of the word, I get it wrong, so I won't say it. I don't like that back and forth, though. But I do think prices need to come down, but they won't unless we start voting with our wallets. It's the same with video games. Remember when they announced all the Switch 2 stuff, and everyone was like, what? It's going to be how much? Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be $100. I will buy that game for $100, so I'm absolutely part of the problem. Anyway, the point is, dude, I totally understand where you're coming from, and Vegas does increase those costs. I mean, it's just the current climate of living. It's totally insane. John says, not gonna lie, I'm delighted with the news. There's always two sides to the story. Visited Vegas multiple times a year anyway. This just means I have another visit planned in. This is what I mean. That is a perfectly acceptable and understandable response. For anybody that is upset about this, somebody else would be like, get to go to WrestleMania. I've got the money. I love Vegas, and you're happy. And me, I'm never going to crap on another man's happiness. Parker says, I think it's Parker from the Thunderbirds. Was he the driver of Penelope? That's not her name. I can't remember the Thunderbirds. I think it's a bit silly, but it's not my money. So if Vegas wants to pay WWE to have Mania again, then whatever. That's probably an opinion I find myself leaning towards closest to. I don't know, it all depends how New Orleans feel about this. I hate the thought they got it dragged away from them when they didn't want that to happen. But if there is a deal in place there, then yeah, if somebody comes in with the highest bidder and WWE accepts that highest bid, I've kind of got to a point in my life where I go, well, again, it's not a wrestling thing. That just seems to be what happens in a 2025 world. Jeanette had a similar opinion because she said it makes sense with there being so many venues you can walk to your next events or from your hotel. Selfishly, I like the idea because it's a minor road trip anyway. Location's going to be a massive deal. If you live in Vegas or you live in Los Angeles or you're on the West Coast, of course, you can be like, oh, awesome, it's closer to me now. And I will say, one of the awesome things about WrestleMania 41 is that we did walk everywhere. There was no need to get a cab. There was no need to get public transport in terms of the small things that we were doing. And I remember being at New York post WrestleMania 35 and the now iconic, that's not the right word, hell on earth, trying to get a cab away from that place, to the point if it was held back there, I'd be trepidatious about going. It took like 4.5 hours. I suppose I was very lucky. The hotel that I was staying in was like a 25-minute walk from Allegiant Stadium, which is nothing, and you can leave and get there in due course, and then do an ups and downs, which is what we did do. Make sure you subscribe to What Culture, and please do subscribe to me too. So this is why I didn't want to get two toys out of the pram, because there's lots of people that are perfectly fine with this. I think from a fun point of view, it's gone down, because I can't remember who said it now. Going to a brand new location is the fun part. You'd be like, oh my gosh, my holiday is now going to take me to New Orleans. I never thought I'd go there before. And even though Vegas is gimmicky, I mean that in a good way, because you're going like, what is this crazy man-made place? Once you've been, you've been. It's the same with anywhere. Brown Sugar says, couldn't care less, lol. He meant careless. I couldn't help it. Couldn't care less. I love the internet. I'm not going to read that name. I should have read it. Here to Shib post we'll go with. I mean, that kind of sums up what he's going to talk about. For most people living outside of the US, attending WrestleMania is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and going back to Vegas is also a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Having it back in Las Vegas won't affect 90% of the attendees. Feel bad for no, though. I'm sure that economy could have used a boost. New Orleans. Why did it take me so long to realize that? I think you probably hit the nail on the head. Let's not forget that it not necessarily the same fans going to WrestleMania 42 that went to WrestleMania 41. So there, it's absolutely going to be some individuals like, oh, sweet, I always wanted to go to Vegas. I wanted to tie into WrestleMania. I don't have to wait any more time. I can just do it in 2026. Herman says, doesn't bother me. It's a business. Go where the money is, because the money not going to be there next time. I think that's fair. As a wrestling fan, I never try to worry about what money anybody is making, because I kind of feel like it's not a fool's errand. That's way too extreme. But I think once you start getting into that, and we start getting into the ratings debate, and I'm only allowed to like the show if it does 1 million viewers, I just think it's a path to sadness. I don't want to take that path. I want all wrestling companies to do well, because I want wrestlers to be employed. But I also don't care about the money they are bringing in, because I don't have to. I'm just a fan. DB Cooper says, really unfair to everybody that was excited for the New Orleans show, especially after they had announced this. I thought the Vegas crowd was bad and prices are just ridiculously out of hand that many fans are locked out of even having a chance to go. Yeah, that does suck. It does. We kind of talked about that already. I don't want to start waving the finger of blame, because if you can afford it, awesome. If you can't afford it, not awesome. That's kind of how I see it. But yes, I do think there is an upsetness that if you wanted to go to New Orleans, now you can't go. But then at the same time, I mean, what can you do? Like, it sucks. It does suck. I think that probably WWE should never do this again. I do think this is a bit of a litmus test. So if there is a big sort of backlash, they'll never do it again, because they'll be like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. I think they have risked a PR incident, and that's me overblowing it massively, to try and make more money. So if you really don't want it to happen again, it's the same, vote with your wallets, vote with your voices, make some noise. Top Turnbuckle, which is a great name, says, the decision doesn't impact me at all since I don't live anywhere near Vegas or Orleans. With that said, I do sympathize with the indie wrestling promotions that will definitely be impacted by all this. I can't believe that an indie promotion would have saddled up to New Orleans already, but I like the fact that you're thinking of that way. Obviously, WrestleMania weekend is hugely beneficial to indie companies. I think they should be all right, but I don't know. And from what I can tell, again, I worked the Progress show over WrestleMania 41, it was quite plentiful for those promotions. So actually, Vegas may be more of a help. Don't know. That's my inkling. Ren says, this year's WrestleMania had one of the deadest crowds in recent memory. So at the moment, this feels like a bummer. But if it's not in London anyway, I'm ultimately giving two squats, we won't read that bit, about where he doesn't care unless it's London. I don't think we can blame the Vegas fans for WrestleMania, because people fly in from all over the world. So it's not a Las Vegas fan base. So you may get another crappy crowd, or you may get another good crowd. But I remember people didn't like the Philadelphia crowd on night 1, 2. So I'm not going to put that on Vegas's shoulders. That is certainly an individual person's shoulders, and it could happen again. It all depends on who's going. Moro says, it kind of sucks, as I was looking forward to visiting New Orleans again, and one of my boys dropped out of it because of it. There you go. That's the other thing, plans having to change, and that's what upsets me most, right? I'm one of those people. I like to think about the human side of pro wrestling and the emotions that come attached to these things, and you know what it's like. You get excited about something, and then the rug does get pulled out from under you, you're upset, because of course you are but a human. D in the DM says, I think part of the fun and excitement around Mania is having it feel different in different cities. I think staying in Vegas would be a negative. I think that's fair too, but that is coming from people that did go to WrestleMania 41. I think we need to keep doubling down on this. Brand new people will be going. I just don't think it's the best way to do it, right? If you want to do Vegas back to back, I think you probably should have just announced Vegas on night 2 and said, oh my gosh, we're doing this brand new thing. And then you could have tied it into a novelty anyway, and then see how people reacted. My problem with this is announcing one and then taking it away. I just don't want things to be taken away from people. And he says, personally, the goal in life, I like this one already, is to live as many different life experiences as possible, not the same life experiences over and over. I went this year, it's an easy skip next year, especially now with the influx of international events, so many more appealing options for travel at similar costs. Well, I saw those Clash at Paris prices too. Super duper expensive. But yes, again, that's very specific to you, Andy, although I do take your point 100%, you are right. But I am now sound like a broken record, but I want to make sure we get everybody involved here. If Brian down the road is super excited about going to Vegas and now he feels like it's justified, he will be, well, doubly excited, obviously. But I am with you as well. I think WrestleMania should be a touring brand. I think it should go here, there, and everywhere. I just think it makes it more fun, and that's what wrestling should always be, fun. And we end with Ryan, who just says, I am not bothered at all. It's not the first time we've seen consecutive WrestleManias in the same place, and it probably won't be the last. I think that's up for debate. People will moan about it because it's wrestling, so of course they will, but it's no biggie. I think it's a biggie in a little bit of a sense that you're allowed to have plans, the plans go away, and you be a little bit down about it. But ultimately, it was going to be massively expensive in New Orleans anyway. It probably will be more expensive in Vegas because it's Las Vegas. But I don't think the price conversation is just locked into WrestleMania. Again, go look at the European shows they just announced. They are crazy money. And once again, if they sell out, the prices will continue to go up. That's just the way it works. If WWE decides to run a Raw and SmackDown in a sphere, that is going to be unaffordable. I saw how much it costs to go to the UFC. So I kind of think that it's a debate that's very, very interesting. People are going left and people are going right. I think we need to give it a couple of weeks and see how it does play out. Maybe it doesn't go back to Las Vegas and this video was a complete waste of time, but at least we have broached the conversation that some people are happy to do consecutive years and some people aren't. I truly believe if they had announced Vegas straight away, nobody would have been saying anything. Certain people would have been like, it sucks, it's not a traveling brand for 2025 and 2026. But it's like if I told you I'm going to give you free pizzas for life, then a week later I take those free pizzas away. You've accepted that you're going to get free pizzas for life, even though the day before you didn't have anything. And it's the same in New Orleans. And that's a terrible analogy. So let's just hope that it does find a nice place where everyone can be happy and we can do the dance of joy, as long as anyone didn't lose any money. Again, I would like ticket prices to come down, just in general. I think we all would for all walks of life. I want grocery prices to come down. But I don't want anyone to lose money because of last minute changes, so I hope that's not you. Does that make a difference to your life? No, but it is how I feel, so I've thrown it out there. Let's give it the weekend. Let's see where we are on Monday, but I tell you, it's pro wrestling, man. There is never a dull day. Now, I'm sure you're going to have loads to say about this, so please do drop me a comment below. And again, be respectful of other people's feelings. And there is no wrong opinion with this. I think it's actually quite a nuanced thing we could get into. Otherwise, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click that notification bell and click the video on the screen, which is me talking about a bunch of predictions for Saturday night's main event. Otherwise, you can go to grillandmine.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off. I had a Grill and Mine energy drink before this because I was tired, and now look at me, I'm all pumped up. You can also sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. The watch-alongs have begun. It looks like the first one is going to be Hell in the Cell, 1998 Mankind Undertaker. So please come sit down and we can enjoy that together. Simon Miller on Cameo for personalized video messages. They're super cheap because I like doing them. Simon J. Miller on TikTok for dumb wrestling and football stuff. What a stupid world I'm living in. Otherwise, Pro Wrestling Tees and Big Cartel for merchandise. And that's it. Hope you're okay. Hope the news didn't screw you over. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon.